On today's Minute of the Apes, it's definitely a Friday when Sean says, "Who has a tease?" I ask Richard, "Do you have a tease?" And he just goes, "Hmm." Hello and welcome to Minute of the Apes, the daily podcast where we break down every minute of the Planet of the Apes movies 1 minute at a time. I'm Todd. I got Sean. I got Richard.
Heyo.
What is that cookie? Is it like a high fiber, proteiny kind of thing?
Yeah.
And it's got little chocolate chips and everything in it too.
Yeah.
Did you bring enough for everybody, Richard? No, I actually don't. I'm trying to be a good boy, and I've got about 7 pounds I want gone. And it's focusing on what I'm eating. So no, thank you for the offer though. You're very sweet. I like what the allergies are doing in my voice. I can feel it going
nice
deeper as I talk.
That deep bass.
Yeah. So we're up against the clock because I've got an orchestra performance to do, and all I could think of was, thank God it's not a band thing because my voice oh my God, my voice would go today. Speaking of, let me tell a funny story that we can build out this minute.
All right.
So we played a gig the other night. Troy Aikman, Dallas Cowboy quarterback, owns a bar in Arlington, and it's owned by another company. They bring all their general managers there. We're the band for that party. It pays nicely. It's a great thing. Mm-hmm. But they ask us to be karaoke band.
Okay.
And it's, that's really, it's not that hard of a thing because you don't have to learn every song. But if somebody comes up and says, "Can I play He Stopped Loving Her Today?" Well, that's the same chord progression as 400 billion other songs. You've learned it once, you get it, right? We had a guy come up on stage. Two funny things. And, no, we don't play jazz, but that's actually where I'm more trained, is to play jazz. "Could you do Fly Me to the Moon?" "Yeah, great. Just what key do you want in?" "Well, that's yours to decide." No.
You're singing.
You tell me where you can sing.
Because I don't want to go too high.
That's right. If I do, you're going to sound like dog doo-doo. And so that's already my first red flag. And then after he says his mind decided, he goes, "Do you understand all the changes?" And I was like,
I am the band.
I said, "Yeah, I got the changes. Don't you worry about it." And then at the end, it does do a little bit of, and we don't nail it. We've never played that song together before. And he goes, "I thought you understood the changes." And I was like, biting my tongue. Then another woman comes up there, and I mentioned He Stopped Loving Her Today, classic country song, George Jones. She asked for a Tammy Wynette George Jones song. I don't know it, but you look, and it's literally 2 chords. Your hands are just moving to the same position over and over. And all of a sudden, again, we told her, we've never played this before. She goes, "You need to bring the band down." And I was like, "Oh, God."
Okay.
So I just looked at my German. I said, "Down." And it dropped out. And she was like, "Y'all stopped." I'm like, "We're not stopping." It was like, why do people jump on stage and they've never done this before, but they think that, and I even asked her at the end, I was like, "Oh, are you a musician?" She's like, "Oh, I've never played anything." And I was like, "It shows."
Yeah.
Don't ever get in bands. That's what you warn your kids about, because I'm telling you, people at gigs are crazy. They are crazy. Okay.
Well, they've probably also been drinking too.
Oh,
There's
well,
probably
they
a little
had
bit of that as well.
Well, and then the funny thing is, one of the top managers, like over everybody, we could see him staring at my bass player, and he all of a sudden, I thought Joe was still behind me, and they start playing U2's "With or Without You," which that's a chord progression. I can just hear it and know what they're playing. I thought it was Joe. He's running licks. I look over, and that dude picked up the bass. I'm like, "Well, holy shit!"
You joined the band?
And I told him, I was like, and Joe went out and had a beer and watching it. It was great, but man, people are weird. Anyway. We're up at minute 75. I've done enough talk about band stuff. Let's talk as Sean.
Yes.
Tell me about this minute and let me know, is that a antibacterial soap dispenser type thing that he's about to touch? Because that's what it looks like to me. Minute 75. Tell us what's going on.
It's post-COVID. All right, we're going to start minute 75 with Davidson activating a panel, and then with a Mayday call from a familiar face.
All right, minute 75. Planet of the Apes.
This is what the messenger was picking up, the Oberon.
What are you doing?
Ship has a nuclear power source. It's supposed to last forever. If I can access the database, the ship keeps a visual log. To wait for them to tell their own story. Maybe I can figure out what happened.
As minute 75, we have an Oberon's worth of apes and humans, 2 displaced pods worth of humans and apes, wild humans, Ape City, -2 gorillas, humans on the loose and monkeys on the march.
All right, this visually, we get shots of Leo reaching and putting his hand in the antibacterial dispenser, lifting the door up. Then we actually have a cool shot right before that, as from within the cockpit. It's unmotivated. We don't have a reason to be in there yet, but it's still a cool shot as we see that door coming up. Everybody jumps back in reaction. Dust falls down. Leo walks into the bridge, and everyone begins to follow. A series of shots that show that. Limbo with a little bit of shifty eye again, silent, saying nothing. And Leo, luckily, the place where he needs to dock up his tricorder happens to have the least amount of sediment and dust on it. You just easily put it in there. Everything powers up, which I'm so glad that it's a nuclear power source that's supposed to last forever. Because my first thought is when he plugs it in, I'm like, I'm sorry, where's that coming from? But okay, that's one nitpick that I do want to get to. That line should have happened before he put the thing in there. But then Limbo looks around a corner. Everything begins to power up. And luckily, every place that lights up has no dust on it. It is so lucky because it's really pretty when it lights up. We begin to see the screen. We see the symbol of the Oberon. And Leo sits down, spinning around. And I don't know if that's a little honeycomb type thing that he picks off the screen before we begin to see a mysterious message appear on the screen. Dun, dun, dun. All right, so, and I know I'm picking on, I know this is pre-COVID, but it literally did make me think of those little things.
Put your hand under it, hand activated, and it puts out the antibacterial stuff.
So we step into this bridge, and I guess everyone follows willingly because they know it's his ship, according.
He's leading the way, yeah.
They feel safe with him.
They jump away from the door. Oh, they're just not reacting as surprised or scared as I would imagine.
You think they have not seen electricity. They were freaked out by the gun. They haven't seen electricity. So when the lights come on, that should be something that's amazing to them. These lights on the panel should be...
Technology should be... Yeah.
I mean,
a door should be less of a reaction. You could get a... I wasn't expecting that reaction, but not the...
Yeah. So...
Oh, and also, how... Okay, so he puts his hand there. If the power's not activated, how is that working to read his hand after 1,000 years?
How is he contacting with his little scanner
if nothing is turned on?
Off?
Sure.
On top of that, this says crash. Okay, I'll give you maybe the nuclear pile didn't break down in the crash and you still have power, but every system that you need to work survived the crash without having... Wires haven't rotted over the thousands of years that it's been here.
Thousands of years,
I mean, this should not just be plug and play. He should have to be at least putting some stuff together. Oh, I've got to hot wire this to get it to work, to pull out some hokey shit like that. But for everything just to be undamaged and working condition is really stretching credulity.
So... let's talk about the moment of the lights, because when the lights do come on, you can look behind him and Dana looks up at the lights, right? Mm-hmm. Then we get other people reacting. It's almost like we should have had the overhead lights come on first and have a reaction of them looking up like that, because then we get so many detailed shots of the instrument panel coming alive. He's probably the only one that's immediately seeing him or even knowing to look in that direction.
Well,
and so why am I devoting so much time to something only he sees, and why do I need to see all that?
Well, not only that, let's think of it this way. Davidson is a pilot. Mm-hmm. How does he know how to run the spaceship?
Maybe he's trained in it.
Because if I'm a Navy pilot, I know how to fly an airplane, but when I land on a battle carrier, if you were to take me to the bridge, I don't necessarily know how to run a ship.
Right.
So... I can fly my plane, but I can't pilot my boat. He shouldn't necessarily know how to do all this shit.
I also think of as we begin seeing all these cool little, and wonderfully designed
Flips and
little
switches
dashboard.
and lights and red buttons and.
I see the little kid coming up behind, and I'm.
You want to swat a hand away?
I'm of mind of Han Solo swatting Luke away. There should have been a kind of don't touch that.
Yeah.
Something like
and
that.
then that's the kid could have powered some of the stuff up by accident. That would have been more interesting. If the kid kind of flipped something and touched something. He's like, get away from that. Leo also says it's my ship, the Oberon. He says he calls it the Oberon so that we, the audience, knows. These people don't just call the Oberon. I don't think at any
It doesn't
point
matter
he said
to them
it
at
doesn't
all.
means nothing to them.
It's Kalima.
Right. For all I know, he's
So the whole thing is a setup for him to sit down and to begin spinning around and then reach to the screen and see whatever this. How weird is
like
it that
dirt or?
But it's almost like a mud pack formed on it that he peels away in
Which
sections.
is also the way he peels it off. I mean, use both goddamn hands.
Yeah.
I mean, it's almost like his other hand was strapped down. If he like had to hold a button down to keep the power from working, and then use the other hand, but use both hands to clean off that screen, man.
Well, also make it more of a struggle too, like peel one away and then reach up and have to pull, but it's just this crumbling. Blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, it was.
Why not just have him wipe it away?
The crumbling was kind of unnecessary. Yeah, it was a necessary little pot.
Especially because nothing else is covered in that weird mud-like thing.
Yeah, the set itself is an odd structure of rock formations and dust and things that have kind of come out of somewhere and nothing else.
And also, the screen is also kind of strange because. Oh, good.
Oh,
you find
thank
it on the
you.
web?
Thank
All
you.
In real life, we like to use the maximum amount of space on a screen. Like even when we would have notches in our phone, people didn't like that for stuff. This is not a square screen. It's got like an indentation over on the right-hand side. It's like wasted monitor space. You want a square. You want a rectangle. You don't want
to be fair, this is made pre that kind of thought of notches and screen bothering them, and they're also trying to design for the future. They don't understand
that,
yet.
but we don't. I mean, we had TVs back then. We had monitors back then. We didn't put a little divot in it just to have a little plastic case.
It's why so often to me that sci-fi films get the future wrong when they try so hard to make it look so different. You go and why does Blade Runner look so unique? Because
it kind of looks like now.
It kind of looks like almost like a future version retroed of now. It's like
with monitors.
Yeah, monitors that you see read lines on, you see scan lines and that kind of thing. But to do this, it's just and then so.
If I can access the database, the ship keeps a visual log, and then he has to go. It's a way for them to tell their own story, Dana, because I know you're not smart. Maybe I can figure out what happened. Like, I don't know why there was a necessary need for him to turn and explain to them.
I hate.
Yeah.
It was unnecessary. We're following. If he's going to say Oberon, because we need to follow that, then he just needs to say, I'm going to pull up the log.
Or maybe it can tell me what happened.
Yeah.
But that is so obvious. Who he's actually looking at is the audience.
Yeah, he's right at the camera.
Hey, you stupid fuck.
Yeah, it's was like...
Once you were talking about predicting the future and not getting it right, you can always tell stuff like that because if today it would be he would find somebody's cell phone and it'd still be working and he'd find a video on there and watch that instead of having a log up here.
Well, think about what they did with Conquest. Conquest is thinking of a future but keeping it very real to what it has, and even they're thinking ahead of at that time security cameras. The way that they used them they were not prevalent, whereas today in our world
they're everywhere.
Everywhere. My house has numerous cameras in it. They predicted accurately. This is so sloppy.
Yeah.
And I don't need you explain. In fact, let's go back again to Conquest. They don't explain to me that, by the way, every house has security cameras. I don't need that. Just show me, and I can put that together myself. I have to know, though. At the shot at roughly 58 seconds when we actually see the screen, did anybody think aliens are going to start showing up? Because that looks a lot like the scanner
Man,
from
they're
Aliens.
in the room. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
You're reading it wrong.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It's like the exact same just over half circle structure
Yeah.
with lines through it. And toot, toot,
So my question
they're
is,
in the room.
my question is because we saw just a fraction of this message earlier, right? We saw the glimpse of this SOS being called.
in the very beginning of
Are
the
we
movie.
supposed to assume that this is the captain is older? Does he look about the same age? I mean, the video is not one that I can kind of make out.
Sean, do you recall what minute that was where we saw that message? Because I'll download the clip real quick and we'll play it back.
I want to say, hang on, I'll find it. Because it's like...
It was when he gets like the dust storm in his own spaceship, right? Or no, it pops up on the Oberon.
Yeah, it pops up on the right. It's pretty early on.
Yeah.
I think it's minute 13, because
because we get all the crazy signals of the things in the past.
Sorry about that.
Hang on. Is this? Let's see here. Hang on. Yeah, I think it's minute 13. Yeah.
Okay,
it's
I'm trying
towards the end of it.
Yeah.
Like 40 minute, second 44.
Okay, here it is. I just found it. So I'm gonna play a little lead up to it just so we kind of hear. So this is everybody on the bridge. Leo's out there. Let me turn the audio up. Sorry, this is just something that came to mind. So we didn't pre-pro this, but here we go. Let's take a listen.
It's coming in strong. Put it up. Mayday! Mayday! Come in, guys! Requesting! Go down! Mayday! Delta pod abort.
And that's it.
Okay, so then we go back to today, and let's just jump in once Leo. I'm going to play it again. Here he's breaking the screen open.
Mayday! Come in, guys!
So
Well, they're different because the previous one he said Mayday, Mayday, we're going down.
Yeah,
And
they
this
are
one said,
different.
Mayday,
They're
Mayday,
similar.
guidance.
No, he
Yeah.
says guidance, and then he says we're going down. The next line should be going down.
Okay. So at least they're staying consistent with that. And I know we complained about that before, that it felt weird. So I'm at least glad that they're bringing it
that
back in
back.
and
Right.
solving that mystery.
Right.
But it was just such a weird way to introduce it.
The fact that they were there seemed to be no concern from the Oberon's crew of this strange message that came through for just a second, when it's obviously the captain looking older and he's not concerned about
He does
it.
look older, yeah. So you kind of wonder how long were they up there before they actually crashed.
Yeah.
That was the thing that bugs me. I look so much like my dad that it's very easy, the older I get, to look and see my face looking exactly the way he did. So if I saw a man that looked like my father does now, I'd go, oh, that's me.
Yeah.
And it's the same as that. I think that you've known me long enough that if you saw me, you'd go, oh, look, Todd's an old man.
Yeah.
This is not a hard mystery to crack, and it's one that's not even worth exploring. Did they feel that they needed to explain away what was going to happen in that weird way? And I've not watched ahead. I don't recall. Do we ever find out how long they were there before they crashed? You watched it recently. You finished it.
You don't find out an exact time frame, but you know that they were there for a while.
Okay. It's just a very, very weird thing. And I don't know that Leo needed it. I think that simply finding a log that said they crashed, and then it could even say how many had died. I think that's a more interesting idea of how they died and what went on. And maybe it stops before it says the monkeys got loose and became intelligent. I don't know. But
Yeah.
Well, you know, having watched this in the theater, not having an issue with it, watching it now minute by minute, the fact that this is the Oberon is somewhat predictable. That's where he was going, and that it crashed at some point. But it does make me curious for how this is going to unfold. Like I'm excited because we're now getting a little bit of a mystery, or at least some revelations that are exciting for this plot.
Sure.
Right, I'm like, okay, what's going to happen next? Where are we going to go from here? What is he trapped? Did they eject in escape pods? Did they set up camp somewhere? I want to know those kinds of things. I'm not that we're going to get those answers, but I'm fascinated by it.
Did anyone seeing this movie initially, when this came up and we saw the weird space message again, did anybody go, "Oh my god"?
Yeah,
I get it
was
now.
It wasn't like a big moment of revelation. No.
If when Rod Serling sits down and says, "We're going to show the Statue of Liberty at the end," that is like a holy fuck
twist. Yeah,
that's a very smart twist. This one is just like, okay.
Yeah,
I think that's the name of this episode. Okay.
Well, we're just one word description.
We were stop it before or whatever it was, but yeah, look. You have Marky with his mouth again and again, even in this, just like
open the entire time,
just sort of trying to show wonder in his face, but it needs to even be more than that.
your cast of characters isn't doing anything.
Nothing to help him or question him.
He even answers to Dana about, it being a visual story or a story that can explain whatever. And like, she did nothing to require him to give her an answer.
And we don't see any shock on their faces. If you want to talk about the one thing that really would shock them, besides lights, video playing back, seeing a person on a screen, that would be
like, why aren't they reaching out trying to touch it? Like, why is he in that? Is he trapped in there? Yeah.
The first time television shown to people, the first time films are it's on record. Films the train coming and people shriek to the audience because they thought it was going to run them over.
Yeah.
There should be a reaction to this, and there's none. And that reaction would have been enough then for Leo to go, it's okay. I just want to know what happened to them.
Yeah.
That would say everything about it. This message is going to tell us what happened. It's less constructed and less silly. Wow. I'm going to beg you. Can we stop?
No.
No, I mean just for the
Today.
week.
For the week.
Can we go talk about in between where we actually talk about things that we like?
Let's talk about things we enjoy.
I will tell you, watching the Batman again last night, I cannot wait to watch the Matt Reeves films again. And I purposely stayed away from them because I want to digest them freshly. He is such a good director.
Well, remember, Matt Reeves didn't do the first one.
No, he didn't.
There you go.
But that one's still pretty good. I did see that not long ago, and it was really good. Okay, that's it. We will be back tomorrow with an in-between. Do we know what we're talking about?
I have some ideas.
He has something, yeah.
Oh, I'm not part of the discussion. I don't know whether to be thrilled or frightened.
We talk on our way over here.
I thought y'all stay silent.
We do. We drive in complete total silence.
I want you never speaking to each other until I'm in your presence. That is the will of Todd.
Do you ever wonder when you're watching movies and TVs and you have characters on a very, very long journey if they talk the entire time or we just see like little bits of dialogue? Because there's that whole thing with like Ellie and what's his name in
Joel.
Last of Us.
Last of Us, where we only get snippets of a journey conversation and they're poignant moments of them explaining things, but like what they do the other 6 hours? Were they in silence? Do they talk about video games? Like,
my
like,
question is, and it's always a movie trope where you start a sentence in one scene and then you finish the sentence in another scene. So does that mean you started a sentence and then just didn't talk for the 10 minutes it took you to get to the next location, and then you ended your sentence? Hey, Todd, I'm going to tell you, whenever we get to Grandma's house, half an hour later, to Grandma's house we'll go. I mean, it's like, did they just not talk in that half hour in between?
No, they didn't.
Yeah, I mean, I literally.
This is definitely in between.
Okay, sorry.
Okay. I call this one done. Don't say another word, both of you. Shh. Be good boys. Everyone have a great day.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
You told us not to say anything.
Yeah, but I'm pointing a finger at you.